as ever. Yeah, I see you. There you. What's up, brother?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yo, what's up? How you doing?
How's it going? Can you hear me? Can you not hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, man.
Oh, okay. Cool.
A little bit of an echo today. It's like you're in a tunnel. But I like Tom in a tunnel. I like Tom anywhere.
Let me check here.
It's
I
like
don't know
music to
why.
my ears. Like you're like what do they call that thing that like T-Pain does that he's got on his voice when he raps?
Auto tune.
Yeah. We could do an intro with auto tune.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing myself on my own speakers, and that's not normally how this works.
Yeah, it's a tad spooky. But all right, so what's up, Tristan? This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're back. I took like well, we'll call it a month hiatus, but it was really only 2 weeks. But I did get on and hear you guys talking about the strike last week, and Tom had to talk about. Uh, you wanted to talk about some things that we did that maybe weren't so smart. So we're going to talk about some things that we did that maybe weren't so smart. I want to talk. I need some explanation of this, like pay chat GPT versus regular chat GPT, and then what is like chat GPT 5? What's the difference? And I really want to get into what people are paying for. So like there's so many apps out there. Some people pay for Canva, some people pay for storage, some people pay for Google Ads. What should I be paying for? If you're starting out or if you're on, what are you paying for? So Tom, let's see if you still got that booming bass, and then go on, my friend.
All right. I think the echo's gone. I think I fixed the issue. I don't know what.
You did. I kind of miss it a little bit, but go on.
I don't. I hear myself all the time. I don't need to hear myself coming out of the speakers too. So yeah. So I don't know. Well, the silly things we did thing was actually we were supposed to talk about that before we got on, but leave it to me. The silly thing I did was went out to do one of my workouts. I've got 2 workouts today. I've got a ride and a swim. I went out to do one of my workouts and totally miscalculated time. Ended up, I fell into the trap of anybody who exercises, I'm sure has fallen into this trap. So this hopefully will be relatable and probably relatable to you because I see you out there on your bike riding and running. So don't do math while you're exercising, right? Like don't try to do mental arithmetic and calculate times when you're actually exercising. And that's exactly what I did this morning, which is why I was like fighting technical issues, trying to get the room up and running and trying to get rid of an echo and all kinds of things because I'm a knucklehead. And I did math while I was out on my ride and was like, oh no, I have time to go this route to get back in time. And it turned out I was completely wrong about that. And it was like 5 minutes. I was off by a full 5 minutes. And that's what kind of set me up for not successfully starting the room up this morning. So my apologies, Dom, for welcoming you back with technical difficulties and echo and being late. So sorry about that. It's totally a result of me and my brain and me trying to do too many things at one time and has nothing to do with you coming back. I'm super excited that you're back. I missed you, buddy. And yeah, excited to hear all about your trip and how you handled the loss that your boy Nate was subjected to. And yeah, but I don't know what things should we be paying for at the beginning of our journey. I think I'll give a very generic answer and we'll kind of go from there. But I think you pay for what you need, right? And I think that's the thing is really having a hard conversation and deciding what you actually need versus what you want or what somebody's telling you should have, is sit down and really figure out what's going to actually benefit you in the near term, and spend money there, and then save and plan for the longer term. I don't know. That's my thought.
That's fair, man. I really want to get into this because you could spend thousands of dollars on apps, or you could spend no money on apps or storage or programs or advertising. And so some people might say this works. This works for me, and somebody else might say, man, I don't see the point in any of this. So that's why I wanted to dig into it. Okay, first of all, you and Dr. Tachi did a magnificent job when I was gone. One, you held it up, you kept it going, and it was probably 10 times better than when I'm here goofing around, showing you weird memorabilia or talking about things I don't know. So it's much appreciated. And that's really, like we always say, we're not the smartest guys in the room, not the smartest people in the room, but to get to any week to have so many experts in here like Dr. Tachi that is willing to come and share like what got them to the place they are, or share their journey wherever you're at, and say, here's what I'm working on now. Here's what's worked. Here's what hasn't. There's other people that are going through that same stuff. So you guys killed it. Okay. So now Nate Diaz, let me just tell you, I went to see me and my dad, my son and daughter. First, me and my family went to California, different story, had a blast, super, we'll move on. Me, my dad, my son, and my daughter went on this cross-country trip. You know, we decided, my dad wanted to go across country, and he was going to go by himself, and then he asked us to go. He wanted to go to this fight. I think he picked a YouTuber to get my kids interested, and we went to this fight. And one, Jake Paul, whether he wins or loses, whatever it is, you got to give the guy credit because he went into completely hostile territory. And I mean, you are talking 20,000. If there's 20,000 people in the room, 19,500 people are booing him, hate his guts. And so that was pretty cool to see, like, this guy willing to put himself out there. Now he's a professional boxer. The other guy isn't, blah, blah, blah. And he ends up winning. But Nate Diaz was a UFC fighter, came over to boxing, and he put on a show in front of his home crowd, was like elbowing people and doing weird stuff after the bell and trolling Jake Paul. So even though he lost, what I would take away from that is sometimes, like I posted on YouTube the other day, that sometimes the decision or the final bell doesn't always let you know who the winner is. And you can win a lot of different ways. And that day, I think Nate Diaz won, like, the popular opinion, not because he won the fight, because he went in there and put on a show that was very entertaining, gave the crowd what they wanted. So that was something to see. Okay, now, this is not the smartest guys in the room. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for being here. But what we started to talk about today, Tom wanted to ask, he had this idea of tell something that we messed up on, something goofy. Tom said he was out for a ride, didn't know how far he went, and was running a little late this morning. Now, I'm going to tell you on my cross-country trip, Tom, you want to know what I messed up on. So we're driving to Texas. My dad's like a little kid at 81 years old. Like, once he needs Starbucks, he wants to go to Starbucks. Even if they're closed, he's got to find the Starbucks. And he'll talk about it for like hours. He's driven for that. So then all of a sudden he gets in his mind, we need to go to this hot place called Hot Springs. And I'm like, Dad, that's 2 hours out of the way. Like, it's nowhere near. But I don't say that because I'm like, oh, my dad wants to go there. We'll go to this place called Hot Springs. So we go to Hot Springs, and I guess these springs are like in the middle of the woods that, like, they're warm and stuff like this, but it's a national park that's huge. So one, we can't find these hot springs. It's 100 and I think it was 106 that day there. So who goes to hot springs on this hot day? You have to be completely foolish. So I'm mad about that, but I just suck it in. So anyway, we get to this hot springs. We have no idea what to expect. All of a sudden, we park and we see this, like, looks like a pool or a fountain you'd see at the mall or something. So me, my dad, and my son put our hands in this hot fountain, that we think is like, maybe this is hot springs, you know? So we start like putting our hands in this fountain and like putting it on their faces and stuff like that. And then about 2 minutes later, as we walk down this fountain, we see a guy that looks a little rough, rummaging for coins in this fountain. And we realize that we're nowhere near the hot springs, and we're just rummaging through putting dirty pool water all over ourselves. So that, Tom, is the dumb thing I have done. So that's what I got for you. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room, Dr. Tachi, not the smartest people in the room. Dr. Tachi, thank you for doing what you did, for always being here, for being so giving. You want to share something silly you might have done? And then I want to know apps that you're using. What are you paying for, Dr. Tachi? Or what should we be paying for? Go on, Tom. You want to add something there?
I was just going to say, and thank you, Dr. Tachi. I know I said it to you last week, and I said it to you offline after we got off. But thank you for jumping in and helping me out, because there's no way I could do this on my own. So thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I co-sign on both of you. So anytime you ask me, the answer shall be yes. So thank you for trusting me with the room and the audience to help co-host. It's always an honor. So thank you. So something silly I have done. I've done many silly things. Which one do you want me to focus on? Okay, well, let me focus on something related to like production. So not plugging in the microphone all the way. And that, if for those of you who know, if you don't plug it in all the way, you get this like weird far away sound, or you get buzzing. So I knew one time I was using my phone, and I have a microphone that plugs into the phone. So I knew that I needed to take the phone case off. Why I didn't, I don't know. So the whole time I was using it and recording, it was like halfway plugged in. So I was like, why is it so echoey? Oh, because the phone case is on and it wasn't plugged in. But I know that it's not supposed to be on. So that was something silly that I've done. So the lesson there is, even if you think you know what to do before you go live or before you record video, just check everything. Make yourself a list of, like procedures, standard operating procedures, basically, or SOPs, but it will be for production. So make sure the lights are on, make sure they're at this setting. So even if you know, and after a while you'll get to know, it doesn't hurt to check the list to make sure you've done everything, like take the phone cover off so the phone will plug in, or the mic will plug in properly. In terms of apps that we should be using, well, what am I paying for? If we're talking about content apps, I'm only paying for very few things, and I refuse to add anything else. So I pay for Sling for the live TV, even though I don't really need to, but I still do. I pay for Amazon Prime because I get so many deliveries that it just makes sense for me to do that. And then on top of it, the Prime Video is like just kind of a caveat. I wasn't subscribing to Amazon Prime because of the video. It was always because of the delivery. But the caveat is having Amazon Prime Video. And then I pay for, what's the other thing I pay for? It's something else. Anyway, Netflix. And we'll see for how much longer. So that's just a legacy thing, because I've had Netflix since like 1999 or 2000, I think. I've had it like since 2000. So it's just a legacy thing. In terms of productivity apps, I pay for Canva. I usually pay for the year for Canva because I have, a client that I do some social things for. Especially with video, if it's something short, I don't always feel like firing up a professional editing program like Adobe Premiere, right? Which is what I use, or maybe you use Final Cut Pro. Sometimes if it's something very simple where you don't need a fine cut, and it's like for social media, check out some of the apps that will do social media things. So I actually pay for Canva because I value it that much. It used to be really janky, but it's gotten really, really good. So those are just some of the things that I'm paying for.
I just want to, I want to just throw an addendum onto something that Dr. Tachi said there about talking about kind of making a checklist, prepping things, checking things, right? Even when you do that, and I do actually have a checklist of like all the settings that are the way things are supposed to be set up for this live stream, you still sometimes hit technical difficulties, but because I have a checklist and because I know what all the settings are supposed to be, I'm able to fix things relatively quickly, right? Like every once in a while we come in, like this morning we started the room, I was running a little bit behind and we had a little bit of an echo, but I was able to fix it pretty quickly because I just started going through settings and I looked and checked and everything. And one of them was a little bit different. And so I changed it to what it normally is set at, what I've had it set at before when it's worked, and boom, there went the echo, right? So that checklist matters, which leads me to a pet peeve of mine, and something that I cannot stress enough to everybody who's listening, anybody who finds themselves in this situation. If you ever have to do a presentation on Zoom, right, or on any other video conferencing app, right? If you ever have to do a presentation on a video conference, right, test your presentation. Don't wait there's nothing worse than being in a meeting where someone's going to present, and when it's time for them to get up and present, the first thing out of their mouth is, now let me see if I can figure out how to screen share. No, 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 no. You should have figured that out long before the meeting ever started. Like, be professional. You would never go to a meeting and not be sure whether or not you had your slides on your laptop or you had handouts, whether or not you had enough copies of a handout you were going to give out, or, whether or not you were wearing pants. Like, it's the same difference. You practice before you show up to the meeting. It drives me absolutely insane when people, and it just happened the other day, which is why this is like fresh on my mind. I was in a meeting and it was somebody's turn to present, and all of a sudden they go, let me see if I can figure out how to screen share. And I was like, how have you not tested this? Like, how did it not occur to you? And how do you not realize how unprofessional you look when you didn't even take 2 minutes to get on and just try to figure out how to do it, right? Watch a YouTube video, do a tutorial, do a video conference with a friend and just test it. Make sure you understand how it works. But like, do prep work, right? Pre-production matters. It matters both in production, but it also matters when it comes to how you show up on video professionally. And nothing is less professional than getting up for a presentation and going, I'm not sure if I can do my presentation because I haven't tried it. I haven't tested it. I haven't practiced it. I haven't rehearsed it. AKA, hi, everybody, I'm unprepared, right? So just a little rant. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. Please don't be that person. Practice once before. That's all I got. Dom, you were nodding, so I'm sure you've run into situations like that too.
No, it's a huge pet peeve of mine too. You get on a Zoom and people are like, oh, I don't know how to work this. I don't know. Oh, chaos, confusion. We've talked about this before. I'm just a believer. The show must go on. The show must go on. Even if all goes wrong, you got to act like my dad used to say, never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you sweat. And I remember when I was going out of business in the restaurant business, and losing like $500,000, like everything's going wrong. I'm getting sued, like everybody wants a piece of me. And he would say, keep your head up, even if you have to put it on the curb. And that was like his motivation to me, of lift that head. So you got stuff going on and people just panic. Everybody wants to panic. The world like has shit to do, and they don't want to see you panic. If you're going to panic, they just going to go somewhere else. The other thing I hate is dead air. So I'll go dead air. I can't take dead air. I mean, so, hey, I'm going to propose this to the group. You got me thinking about a lot of things. Somebody was talking about, should a Clubhouse room start with music? And I'm like, I came on Clubhouse to hear what you're talking about, making money. You're talking about apps that I should have, or you're talking about media. I don't want to hear music for 1 minute. I'll go to my new country music channel or whatever if you're playing music at the beginning of the show. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay. Then
like hold music as we're like starting the room, like
yeah, I don't like
music,
it, man.
like
I don't want to hear it, man. I want right in. I'm like, yeah, it's like elevator music or something. What somebody else would say, oh, we're getting you pumped up, but I don't know. I want to hear Tom and Dr. Tachi and Debbie. Okay, now I'm gonna semi reset here. We're talking. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We are talking about like should have apps or do we need to have them? Like, what are you paying for? Apps like productivity apps, like Dr. Chachi said. Like, should I be using Canva? Should I pay the $20? Can I use it for free? Like, I use BookBrush. It helps me make covers. I don't use like it once I have the cover. It helps me make them look like books, and I can do little ads and stuff like that. Something I use. I use Google Ads. I've used Google Ads for years. I like Google Ads. I pay. I think it's, there's a couple other things that I would. Then there's things like ChatGPT. I use it all the time, but should I pay for 4? What the hell is 5? The other thing I want to talk to you guys about, what do you think? Twitter rebranding to X. What do you think about Threads dropping from 100 million to 10 million active users? Like here we were a couple weeks ago, like you see how many rooms are like, nobody's mentioning it. We're back to this, back to that. Are you still on it? Are you trying it? Did you give up on it? So you see, I'm shot out of a cannon because I wasn't here for 2 weeks. So I needed your input on all these things. So author Debbie Griffith, speaker, clubhouser, friend of mine. We met in person and took our picture in front of a giant elephant in Somerset, Pennsylvania one time. Debbie, what do you have to say on all this?
Well, good morning, everyone. You really are shooting out of a cannon. There's quite a bit of things you were putting out there. So let me see if I can remember everything. I think we started off with doing stupid things. I probably have too many things to even remember thinking that I did. But
tackle whatever you wish. Go on.
Well, okay. Well, actually, I hate it when I send an email and there should have been an attachment and I forget the attachment because I'm not paying attention. So that's probably a minor, stupid little pet peeve of mine when I do it. As far as paying for apps, like I do have the Amazon Prime because I use the Amazon shipping. I have the Netflix. I have Paramount. That is probably it. I just actually cut back on some of my streaming apps because I don't really watch them or use them. Productivity apps, I have Canva, and right now I'm testing out some social media apps, as a way of for content, more scheduling, because I seem like my schedule is just really, really busy. And what else did you want to know, Dom?
I think you did. So what scheduling app did you say you're using? I'm liking where you're going.
Well,
so you're doing good here.
Okay. So I just tried Social Pilot. The jury is out, and I think I'm going to look into Hootsuite. So if anybody else has any recommendations to look at, I'd appreciate it. And that's kind of about it. I pay for YouTube Premium. And that's probably about it right now for paying for apps.
Thank you, Debbie. That was a good list. She handled my being all over the place pretty well. So, Debbie, well done. And Debbie, I would just want to say, like, Debbie started to share her story about a year ago. I would say wrote a book and stuff. And inch by inch, day by day, you'll see like she's guest on podcasts, she's clubhousing, she's flying to different states to talk about her book being a screenplay. And why I mention that is because you start where you are with what you have. And like Tom said earlier, it's a good point. Like you don't have to buy 50 things at one time. You start where you're at and then just keep moving forward. So well done, Debbie Griffiths. So Brian, what say you about all this? What's going on?
Hey, Dominic, how you doing?
Great, man. You see, I'm charged up. Hey, I had an iced coffee this morning too. I sent.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm on my third right now. So I have some
Hold
great.
on. You make them yourself or you buy them?
I buy them. I have a Starbucks like right down the street
And
over
you're
here.
already
So
on 3 iced coffees. You must
Yeah, I
take
hate to say it.
$30 today, man. Go on.
try 35 here in Boston.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so I've got some really cool apps to talk about because I'm in the video production world, and video production with AI is going insane. So I got some apps that I want to tell you about. But first, I want to tell you the stupidest thing I've ever done. You ready for this story? The stupidest thing I've ever done. So I was in the military back in the 90s. I was a medic in the military deployed to Haiti. And we had a call where us as Americans were really cool because when we go to a country and we hurt somebody, we kind of bring them to our hospital, which is what I did. So we had a call as a medic. We got in the ambulance. We had a call for a Haitian woman who just got injured. So we go to pick her up. And, being a soldier, I had to learn Creole in Haiti. So we pick her up, put her in the back of the ambulance. And yes, she is injured. She is in pain. And we're going to bring her to the hospital, the medical hospital. And total pain. So I'm speaking to her in Creole, levez-vous en l'air. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And she kept like raising her hands up and, having this scared look on her face, which I understood because there's an American soldier right in front of you. Levez-vous en l'air. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So we finally get to the hospital and she's, lifting up her hands all the time. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is a country thing. So we get to the hospital and the lieutenant comes to the door. And he says, soldier, you know what you're telling this Haitian woman? I was like, I'm telling her she's okay, sir. And she's like, no, you're telling her to lift her hands up. She's under arrest. And that was probably the stupidest thing I have ever done in my entire life. I tell my kids that story. I'm never going to forget it. But that is the dumbest thing I've ever done. So
that's good. That's good stuff, man. Now, did you know more of the language, or you just were like?
No, after that, I didn't even attempt to say anything in Creole ever again because I was afraid of what I was going to say. So it's over, done deal. But anyway, let me get to the apps. So video production world is booming with AI. Lots of people are just, my community. I haven't been on Clubhouse for so long. I haven't done podcasting for so long. I had a podcast for 18 years. I'm redoing it again because the video production industry is just going crazy with AI and what's happening. So I use this tool, this app, which I totally love. I'm not going to get, I use Netflix, all that good stuff, but there's this app called Synthesia, and it's not a sponsor or anything like that, but this app is absolutely amazing. I use ChatGPT 2 for video production. It makes it's very efficient, makes my workflow efficient. So Synthesia is this AI talking head, and it is so realistic, you will not believe. So you type anything you want, and my kids have fun with this, especially, my two boys have fun with this. They type stuff in and they make the, woman say whatever they want. But anyway, in the professional world, you have a script, you type it in, and within a matter of seconds, you have a talking head saying something for you. You can put a background in, you can do whatever you want. It's absolutely an amazing tool. ChatGPT, of course, I'm on every single version of ChatGPT. It creates scripts for YouTube. So let's say I want to, say I have a client that's selling camping gear. You tell ChatGPT that, and then you say, these are the products that they want to sell. You tell ChatGPT that, then you tell ChatGPT, create a YouTube script, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, you have this entire script that you can go out and shoot. So those are the two apps I use, and it's pretty
Brian,
cool.
let me ask you, are you paying for ChatGPT 4, or are you fine with the free version?
Yeah, I'm paying for ChatGPT 4. I think it's like $25 a month.
Is it add to it? I mean, like, you feel like you're getting more than the first one?
Yeah, there's with the latest version, you can actually install these apps. And there's this app where you can, there's an app that you can attach to the app, ChatGPT. You can actually, instead of going through that whole process of having a script come out, you can actually have a whole video come out. So you tell ChatGPT to create a video for you. And then, when it's done, it actually gives you an MP4 file or an MOV file of the video. It's like, what? It's insane.
All right, man. Hold on. See, this is the kind of stuff. So the video, like, did you have to put like pictures of you in, or is it just like random stock footage, or can you do both, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's random stock footage.
So you're like, make me a video. You said a camping customer. Make me a video on camping using this script, and you get a video.
Yes, you got a video like within seconds.
Tom's head's gonna blow off here.
Yeah, here it comes.
Emmy nominated. I'm gonna make one on ChatGPT and try to get myself Emmy nominated. Okay, go on, Brian. Then we're gonna hear what Dr. Tachi have to say about that.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't want to do all the talking here or kind of sabotage the
No, you're good. You got us wound up. Tom,
that's what I want to do. Get you guys wound up because technology is changing things, man, and it's exciting. At least in my video production world.
Okay, good, Brian. Thank you. Okay, Tom, where are we going with this?
Okay, so
I'm watching video of your face, by the way, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
And it's real. It's not synthesia. So here are my thoughts on, like, look, I think ChatGPT is a good tool, right? I think I think that these software programs are great tools, right? Here's where I think you kind of get into difficult territory, and where I would veer away from using them, right? And it's in trying to replace or substitute them for creative work. ChatGPT is not capable of creative work, right? It is not. What it's capable of doing is compiling data and predicting an outcome. That's what it is. It's a predictive engine, right? It's a predictive algorithm. So it says, given the data I have, if you pose a query to it, if you propose a scenario, this is the most likely outcome, right? And so essentially what ChatGPT is doing when you ask it to write a script, right? It's essentially taking all the scripts that are related to the thing you're asking it to write a script about, right? And essentially regurgitating a version of all of those scripts, right? And so it's not creating anything new. It's not taking a novel approach to things, definitely not intentionally, right? It is not creating content that is that creates points of differentiation, that creates opportunity for your client to stand out, right? It is essentially creating content that mimics, mirrors, and synthesizes the content that everybody else is doing in that space into a piece of content that fits neatly into that space. So, like, my argument would be, and a lot of businesses want content that looks exactly like all their competitors, right? That's a very common thing I hear all the time. I get asked by people when they approach me about doing work for them, have you done, website content for a home remodeling contractor, right? And if the answer is no, then they want the guy that does home remodeling contract or website content for home remodeling contractors. They often want the people that are doing the same content for everybody else in their industry, right? And the reason they do is because they figure, hey, if it's working for other people, it'll probably work for me too. And actually what it's doing is not working well for any of them, because they're not actually differentiating themselves. They're making themselves all look the same, right? And so they're moving the decision points for the consumer, for their customer, for their community or their audience away from what actually makes them a good company, right? And towards just a dollars and cents issue, right? Because if everybody looks the same, if everybody offers the same services, if everybody talks about what they do the same, then really all it comes down to is price. And then you end up in a race to the bottom and nobody's really earning good money or actually getting paid what they're worth, right? So, like, systemically, I think there's a lot of problems with creating very same content. And I think that ChatGPT feeds into that sort of desire from the business side to create same content, right? And to create to not differentiate themselves within their own industry and actually build community around their brand, right?
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's my big thing. Like, in terms of like a productivity tool, it's great. Like, I actually have used and like using ChatGPT and other predictive engine algorithms like it. I'm actually going to stop calling it AI because that's completely a misnomer. It's a marketing term created by the people who put these algorithms together to get people to think that they're capable of more than they are. So I'm just going to refer to them as what they are, which is predictive algorithms, right? That's what they are.
Or machine learning, right? Machine learning.
Well, they use machine learning to generate the to create the algorithm, right? So like it is ultimately it's a predictive algorithm, right? Like that's the end. That's at the end. That's what ChatGPT is the predictive algorithm. You give it a scenario and it predicts the outcome, the most likely outcome from that scenario that you've given it, and it uses machine learning to develop the algorithm that predicts that outcome, right?
Yeah. So by no means do I use what ChatGPT produces or what these machine learning products produce, but I can tell you it comes up with the first revision. You know, like one time we did a video where the guy had like 19 fingers on his hand, which, you know, AI at this moment does not, for some reason, does not really put together hands really well, or maybe even feet. So, it gave us sort of like, the groundwork for a better video. And that's what we're using it right now, at least in my world.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, in my entire community, it's just a baseline. You get past a whole lot of pre-production stuff. And once you get a video, you have something to work with to improve upon. And that's where by no means do I put the output on social media or sell that to a client. No way, because it's not perfect yet.
You don't, but other people do. I guarantee it, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that people are giving these predictive algorithms a lot more credit than they're due, right? They're not intelligent. They're not. Period. End of story. Like, artificial intelligence is a bullshit marketing term that was invented by the people that created these algorithms to get people to think that they were capable of more than they are. I had a huge discussion a couple of weeks ago with somebody at an event who kept kind of trying to get me to admit or get me to say that that the quote unquote artificial intelligence, things like ChatGPT that are in the world now, are the precursors to the kinds of sort of world ending, species ending, cataclysmic event intelligences that we read about in dystopian science fiction novels, right? Or see or hear about in dystopia, like in movies like The Matrix, right? And I kept telling her, no, none of the things that are out there are capable of doing any of the things you're talking about, nor are they capable of becoming those things, right? They may be something that ends up falling as a point in history before we get to true artificial intelligence, right? But none of these things that we're talking about, ChatGPT is not going to turn into a world-ending artificial intelligence. It just isn't capable of it. It's not possible, right? That's like thinking that your computer mouse is going to end up taking over your life. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Like, I'm not afraid of my keyboard coming after me because it's a keyboard and it's not capable of it, and that's obvious to me. The problem is that people see artificial intelligence and see that moniker and think things like ChatGPT are actually intelligent, and they're afraid of them, right? And or they give them more credit than they're due, and they allow them to become to take a bigger place in our lives than they really deserve, and that's where we start running into problems, right? So like, yeah. I don't want to call them artificial intelligence anymore, because they're not. They're predictive algorithms. And I think they're good tools, just like any other tool in the toolbox. They're good tools. But, and just like you said, Brian, you're using it conscientiously and using it as a springboard. And like, I like to do things like that, where I use it as like a, kind of a baseline to kind of start my creative process, to say like, okay, I need a jumping off point. Let me use ChatGPT to create that jumping off point. I think that's a responsible use of ChatGPT or of these other predictive algorithms, but there's a lot of irresponsible use of them going on, and it's being actively encouraged by the creators of these algorithms, and I think that's definitely a problem.
I'm in the same boat that you are. So I just asked ChatGPT what leve meant and unlay meant, and it said you're going to be okay. So I was right this entire time, unless ChatGPT is wrong. But anyway, I'm on board with you. I'm not going to sabotage the whole room. Thanks for helping me. Thanks for making me come up here. Awesome stuff. It's a great conversation. I got to speak with you more, Tom, because I have a feeling we can have a bigger conversation on this. But I'll just keep listening. Thanks a lot, guys.
Anytime, brother. Reach out. Let's set up a time to chat. I'd love to do that.
Right on, man. And that's a good point. Like, let me do my generic segue. Every one of us should be connecting as many ways as we can. Follow each other on social media, watch a podcast, see if you enjoy it, try something new, have a lunch, take a picture like me and Debbie did in front of a elephant or whatever it is. So just take the extra step here and have that conversation. And who knows, like we're going to go to John Jay. I message John all the time. I messaged him yesterday. He's probably like, what is this guy's problem? Leave me alone. But yeah, he's a guy that I know he knows his stuff. He helps people out. So, I message him. Sorry. I'm watching Johnny's stuff all the time. Johnny cheers me up. I'm on all, I stalk each one of you. Hey, down there on my screen at the very bottom is my friend Kathy Judson. She's just getting on Clubhouse. She rode her bike across Africa. She's an OG of female athletics. So she did some, like, I think the Cape race or something like that. So Tom, you definitely want to follow her. But if you guys would, check her out, see what she's into. I mean, and Kathy, next step, we got her on Clubhouse. Tell her it's a great place to share a message, practice. Got to get you a bio. Everybody in here. I need a sweet bio. Okay, that's my tip. Don J, what do you got for us today? Weigh in, man.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you all, and I'm getting ready to go on here, do my FM music radio show in the Florida Keys in a few moments. I'll be totally honest with you. When it comes to, apps that I purchase, my wife does most of that. I really don't know. We are going to streamline and get rid of some things that we just don't use because it's not worth the expense. When it comes to what I do with the radio show and podcast, I use Adobe Edition, an old version of it that I paid for. It costs almost nothing. It's not the Creative Cloud Suite. I use Adobe Photoshop Elements. I think that costs a total about $69 to purchase once, and then I get updates as well. There's another app I use, which is great for creating memes or images for social media, called Typorama. And you can search stock images that you have royalty-free rights to use, and you put your own text on there. That costs a whopping $3.99 a month. I mean, it's not a lot of money. There's a couple other ones I do. 11 Labs. I'm using a voice cloning for some of my podcast work. And by the way, the podcast that is voice clone that I do, I'm working on an episode right now, is exceeding the national average for downloads. It's not my main show. So I'm really using it as a research tool. And that's really about the extent of it. I found this, that as much as we might look for page shortcuts, there is a friend of ours would say, Meg, there's no easy button. And there's nothing that's going to take away from doing things like planning your social media, doing other things that take effort. If there was a simple program like Hootsuite, which someone mentioned, we got blacklisted by Facebook for using Hootsuite, and it was prohibitively expensive. My partners had that occur. Now, I think these are rectified. I use the free Meta Business Suite app on my phone to pre-schedule stuff because the only one that performs for me is Facebook. The rest do not. So I manually put those in. And I don't put stuff in every day on those. So for me, it's really about managing my time and what produces results. And that's what I go by. If something doesn't produce results and it's just an expense, it's got to go. Sorry, that's all I got.
John,
I use free ChatGPT. I'm not paying for that.
Okay. This is good stuff, man. And this is exactly what I'm here for: productivity, for business, for helping you share your story. What are you using? What are you doing? I agree on the Hootsuite thing, that about getting blacklisted and things like that. I try to use, maybe it saves me some time. I use in-app schedulers, and I do try to use, even if I'm posting a similar post, I try to make it a little bit different. I mean, somebody might say, well, you're wasting your time. I just saw that. Yeah, but in my world, if I use something similar, it's different. Just it could be a little different. The write up, it could be the 8th, 9th, 10th picture are a little different. Whatever I'm doing, I try to, but I do find the value of the in-app schedulers. I don't see one in Instagram. There's not one? Anybody know about that? Go on.
You can actually, through the Meta Business Suite, that also covers Instagram. So as long as you connect everything together, you can schedule for Instagram through Meta Business Suite.
Gotcha. Interesting. That Meta Business Suite, like, for some reason, am I wrong? It just seems that, like, I can go into, like, I'll go into any of the pages I have and I'll schedule on those pages. But when I go to that Meta Business Suite page, it just seems like so much more. Am I being like old fashioned here? Is it antiquated?
No, you're not being old fashioned. It's clunky and it's stupid.
There's lots of great tools in there. Don't escape the insights and pages you can watch. As a page owner, man, that information is vital and will help you grow your business. That's available in the Meta Business Suite. And best of all, it's free.
There you go, man. I've told this story before. And when I used to work for my dad in landscaping, my dad's old school landscaper. He'd been in business like 35 years at the time. I'm like 20 some. And I'd go in and I'd be like, Dad, we need to get a billboard on this road. We need to get a new skid loader. We need to get this rock hound to do lawns or whatever. And one morning I went in, I'm telling my dad this, like, all these things we need to buy. And this is how I've run my business for years, probably because my dad, this is how I, one, because I went broke spending too much money in the restaurant business. But maybe it took me longer to learn what he said. But that day I'm like, Dad, we need rock hounds. We need this, He goes, Dominick, could you one time give me a mother effing idea that makes me money and doesn't cost me money? And this is in front of like all the guys in the office, they're drinking coffee in the morning and like just wanting to embarrass me. That's how my dad rolled back then. But he was right. Could I do something like John just said? Why, before I go to all these other apps, maybe I should use this Meta Business Suite and see if that works for me before I spend $1. And then if you need to spend $1, Tom mentioned that later, earlier. Why would I say Tom mentioned that later? Tom mentioned that earlier, that spend when you need to. Well, then all of a sudden, if that doesn't work or you need more time or whatever, well, then go somewhere. So thank you. All right. Not the smartest guys in the room. I will tell you now, sidebar. This is what you get when I'm back. Sidebar. So one time, my dad, we're at the building, and like, let's say I broke something. I don't remember the scenario. Same office in the morning. My dad, something happened. Like we were inefficient on a job the day before or something. He grabs his wallet and he's old school and like always carries like big cash with him. And he starts throwing money out. He's like, what the F can you I might as well just throw the money out of my wallet. Instead, you're costing me this. That's how hardcore he was. So I always figured I'll try to be the opposite and be a little kinder. Not the smartest guys in the room, not the smartest people, but Prof T is super smart. Prof T, I'm enjoying the videos. I'm enjoying the new picture. I'm into all your social media. Prof T's been in Ocean City, one of my favorite places, Ocean City, Maryland. I'm so jealous. Prof T, what tips you got for us today? Go on.
Good morning, everybody. I'm back in the Philadelphia area. Lost my voice a little bit from all the fun I've had. Listen, I love this topic because there's always something new to learn. But Tom, I just got to tell you, I loved what you were saying. Like, I wish there was a jumping up and down from my chair emoji, because I think you just nailed it and you put so much clarity on it that it really made me start to think. My first thought was, where have all the encyclopedia salespersons gone? Remember those days? How many of us have an encyclopedia? Kids today don't even know what that means. However, I do agree with you, Tom. I think it's been really leading us to believe things that aren't really true. I don't necessarily use ChatGPT. So I think for me that the things that have worked, obviously Zoom. I mean, that's a monthly subscription. I think also the Meta, the Meta Suite for business is good. It's not connected to my personal page. I guess that's how it works. But every time I post on my professional page, it will instantly go onto my Instagram. So that's real helpful. And then, of course, there are a lot of free apps. I have had so many different apps on my phone that I've actually been going in deleting some of them because they're just taking up a lot of space. So I think it is a whole new world. But there's an old saying, it's in the Bible, there's nothing new under the sun. So the more things that they come up with, you're just going back to your original. There's just things that you can never undo. And there are some things that are just always going to be a replica of things from years and years ago. So I'm not great at this topic. I'm here to learn. I just love the conversation. And of course, for those who do podcasts, I think that's fantastic. For me, because my business is such an in-person business, my question would be, if I could throw out a question to the smartest guys in the room and gals, is the content being monetized? I love what you said, Dom. Your dad said, can you please give me something that's going to make us money? How many of us have lost so much money squandering it on stuff that just didn't deliver, or on people who just didn't deliver? So my question is for you all, are you monetizing on these apps that you use? And what's the best way for you? I'm just curious. Thanks. Prof T, over to you. Tom and Don.
Okay, good question. I get to see Tom's face here. And Tom, when you ask the question of are you monetizing, I guess my question would be like, how quickly is somebody monetizing? Like, is it built, like in my case, I think I'm trying to build communities. Give. I'm a Gary Vee fan, and he's give. And I hope that I give. And maybe someday there's going to be a link up at the top and it's going to say, hey, check this out. Or, maybe you'd come here. And maybe at that point you'll say, Tom's giving me some value. I'm going to check out his book. Or Dom, I'm going to go to Creative Con. Come to Creative Con in February. Maybe we've given enough value. But I wonder, like I worry, Prof T, that people look at the ROI when, like, let's say Threads has been out a week or a month, whatever it is. And people are like, I haven't got a customer off Threads. So what did you expect? But were you giving value? So that's why I wonder about the ROI. Well, what was my ROI on a Zoom? But on the other hand, if I completed one deal in 5 years on Zoom, well, I guess Zoom paid for itself. And why I do pay for Zoom, and why do I pay for Zoom when some people don't pay for Zoom? But anybody else want to weigh in on that, like about the monetizing? Go on, John, and then we'll hit Tom and Dr. Stacio.
Yeah, I monetize, but Prof T, quite honestly, it's a total package. So like when I monetize my radio show, my podcast, social media, it's all part of what I offer. There are some clients that only want a certain percentage. They only want to do radio. They only do podcasts. They want to do social. But I use all of them. And tools like the Typorama helps me grow my reach of the social media. So for the $3.99 a month, $3.99 a month, it's a fair trade-off because I'm making far more from that. So the answer is, and I've not seen one app that is a monetization flow machine. For me, it's more a conglomeration of all the things I do. It includes email newsletter as well. And I forgot to add that I use Constant Contact. I don't know what the rate is. I just dumped a bunch of people. So those are all tools I use to monetize. When one does not start working, or it becomes cost prohibitive and it doesn't produce results I want, I don't know that right away. Usually it's a quarter, 3 months down the road. Then I got to make some changes. But that's my answer.
Okay, Prof T. I'll let you respond. Please respond. Good answers, bad answers. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think that was a great answer. I totally agree. I do pay for Zoom, but the free Zoom, you only get 40 minutes.
That stinks.
Yeah, I need an hour.
That's so embarrassing. I
Oh,
have to jump in. This is
sure.
Julie, Prof T. Like, isn't that embarrassing? Like, if you're on a Zoom and they're like, "Oh, the 40 minutes is up." Like, if you're a professional, that's the minimal you can invest in your business.
I didn't know that. I pay for it, but I knew about the time, but I wondered what other features. I know there's some recording stuff, the value of it. I think we hosted some things and I needed more people to be on. And that was the original reason why. But, and then I guess only if you're hosting and you need to have meetings longer, would you pay? But I think somebody else, if you're a guest, let's say you're not hosting meetings, you're a podcast guest, do you need to pay for Zoom? Meaning
not if you're the guest.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, go on.
If somebody comes on to my Zoom call on my link and they only have the free version, you know what? I think it might have changed. I'm going to back out of my answer because they might have changed that. Maybe someone else can speak to that. But I don't know.
Over the pandemic, they kept it open. Like, everyone had unlimited Zoom, right? Because they were just trying to give back. Everyone was like longing for connections. But now, there's that timer. You say you have 3 minutes left. I'm like, oh my God, can't these people just shell out some cash to have a normal Zoom account?
I used to do Blog Talk Radio podcast. I hosted like 100 at some point, and it used to, like, I'd have to do like 30 minutes and somebody would be like having the best conversation and tell me the best story, and I was like, okay, okay, that's a great story, but time to cut it, and so yes, I've been one of those people that Julie, but this isn't now, this is early Blog Talk. Yes, I've been one of those people who.
What about emails, guys? Like, people who don't invest in like their own URL email. That's like, let's go Tom at Talex at Gmail, or Tom or Talex at gmail.com instead of getting Tom at talexmedia.com.
No, okay. I just bought one because Harry Spate was like, Harry told me the same thing. He's like, you got to have the one that says Motivation Champs at Motivation Champs or Dominick at Motivation Champs. I don't even know what to do with it. I bought I have somebody that helps me with my website and like builds it and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, Lynn, can you get me my email to Motivation Champs? And she's like, yeah, sure. Now I don't know what the hell to do with it. So like, I got to open a whole nother email. What are you guys telling me? Julie, you brought it up. I want answers. Go on.
I don't know. I just think it speaks to like investing in your business, and it just makes it seem like it's not a real business.
So what do I do with it? I got this thing. I don't know what to do.
You can forward everything, right? I mean, I wasn't speaking to you particularly.
No, I know, but I want to know, what do I bought it.
Use it.
Yeah.
Where?
Exactly.
Where do I put it? I have this
thing where you email people from that address,
and you can,
and then people reply to
John
that
Wiley
address.
just did this too.
But where does it go? What does it go to? Like,
you can forward people to your.
Hold on.
Who is this?
Everybody stop for a second.
Yeah, please,
everybody stop for a second. I got to ask Dom a question. Do you know how email works?
Not enough. So does it go to, where does it go? I don't, how would I find
anywhere you want it to go, Dominick?
It goes.
But where would I go to find, like on my computer? I go into Yahoo. I go into Gmail.
Talk to whoever you have that helps you with that, right? None of us can answer that question because we don't know how you have it set up. So it could be going to a native app in your operating system, right? It could be going like to a mail app or something like that if you're on a Mac. It could be on a website, right? It could be on the homepage. It could be that you log in through your website and the inbox is there. So however it's set up, talk to the person who set it up, and they will tell you exactly how to get to the inbox for that email address. And then you just use it like an email address.
See, it's I bought, so I paid to satisfy everybody, to, like Julie said, to know I invested. Yeah, that made sense. But then I'm like, how the hell do I use this thing? So I guess I should take step 2.
Yeah, the person who set it up for you can lead you down that path.
See, I take notes while I'm here, and I'm gonna take notes.
You-
Call Lynn and ask. Call Lynn about email. Okay, there you go.
Yes, yeah. Or you could email her.
Email her from, yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's move on. You see, not the smartest guys in the room. Johnny, what say you? What do you want to talk about? Go on, man. I'm a Johnny fan. Johnny
Oh my
makes
gosh,
me happy.
Dominic, you're killing me, brother.
Hey, I was in Nashville too for about 20 minutes on my ride. We drove right through that Broadway, and we were trying to get to the Grand Ole Opry. My dad, like I said, he wanted to see something, but then the traffic was so bad. I'm like, I'm not going the whole way over there. We were on the way to Jackson. But go on, Johnny.
Oh my gosh, you should have stopped in Nashville. I would have bought you some lunch. Anyway, so Tom was describing what quote unquote artificial intelligence predictive. What did you call it, Tom? Predictive.
They're predictive algorithms.
You know what I call it? Plagiarism. You described, when you were describing what predictive algorithms do, you described what plagiarism is. It pulls from existing sources, cobbles it together, and regurgitates it. That's what you would have failed your research paper in high school for doing. And we've got professionals, quote unquote, using it to create ebooks and to create digital art, and now even doing video. It disgusts me as a creative, as someone who creates from whole cloth, from my imagination. AI really pisses me off. That's my thought. That's my opinion. And Dom, I've got an email address for every separate project I do. So I've got a different email address for Back of the Cereal Box. I've got a different email address for Johnny Beyond, for Ghosts of Nashville. Everything I do has a separate email address, and they all come to the same email inbox on my phone. So that's Johnny. I'm done. Ta-da.
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. I think, at the end of the day, plagiarism is a huge issue. And there is going to be some reckoning going on. There are going to be a lot of people getting sued for plagiarism, especially the people that are using these predictive algorithms to actually write books, right? Because what they're going to find is that is one of two things, right? If their book is a work of nonfiction, they're going to find that these predictive algorithms and like ChatGPT just make stuff up. And they don't care about factual accuracy at all. So that's a big issue. And then the other thing too is, like you said, Johnny, they don't give credit, right? So they may lift whole chapters, pages, paragraphs, sections of works from other places that they find on the internet, from parts of their data set, and simply copy and paste them into a new work, call it a new work. Somebody will sell it and try to make money off of it as a quote unquote new work. And it's not new work, right? It's plagiarism. So there's going to be a lot of issues. I'm sure Dom has started to see in the publishing world, there are people who are literally trying to self-publish books that are completely written by ChatGPT. They go to ChatGPT, write me, a 150 page book about X, and ChatGPT spits out the text, and then they put it into a self publishing software, and they think they're off to the races. And a lot of those people are going to get sued, and a lot of those people are going to end up in trouble for doing that. at the end of the day, here's where I think these predictive algorithms really fall on their face when it comes to creative work, right? Because I will disagree, Johnny. I don't think anything is sort of created from whole cloth that is independently 100% brand new, right? And I say that as somebody who has worked in the creative industry for their entire professional life, right? Nothing I do is completely independent of the content that I have consumed, the things that I see in my life that I'm inspired by, right? What is novel about what I do is the way I combine those things, right? So innovation isn't about creating brand new from whole cloth, something that completely exists independently of everything else in the world. Innovation and creativity ultimately is about the novel combination of and interpretation of things that already exist, right? And what comes out of that process, that innovation or creative process, is something new, right? That feels new because it's a novel approach to things. And at the end of the day, I am the only one that's capable of doing that work the way that I do it, because I'm the only one that's me, right? There's just one of me, which a lot of people are, I'm sure, grateful for, including my parents. But there is just one of me, right? So I'm the only one that's capable of doing the creative work that I do. And that's where I think these predictive algorithms really fall flat on their faces. They're simply not capable of doing the kind of creative work that people like myself and people like Johnny, people like Brian, who was in here, people like Dr. Tachi, John Jay, all of us do. They're simply not capable of it, right? So that's where it really falls flat. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's treacherous territory, and I think there's going to be, there's going to be a little bit of a reckoning, so to speak, with these predictive algorithms. Kind of not dissimilar, if I had to guess, I would say not dissimilar to the sort of reckoning that we've seen with cryptocurrencies and like we're seeing with NFTs, that people are realizing they're not all they were initially told they were cracked up to be. And let's be honest, cryptocurrency is basically a Ponzi scheme, right? It was a creative theft proposition. It never really held any value or merit on its own. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's my thought. What do you think, Dom?
Well, I'll tell you, my NFTs I was creating were very cool, but they never got anywhere. And that money I put in there went down to about zero. But here's what I want to tell you. So one, all my editors use software to see if stuff's plagiarized. And it is the worst conversation, even when a passage is plagiarized and they accidentally plagiarized. Let's go that. No, I think nobody I've ever worked with did it intentionally. But to go back to them and they'll show me exactly where it's pulled. And I got to go back to author and say, wow, we need to change this because it looks very similar to what's going on over here. And so these ChatGPT books, yes, it's now like they're out there, like Johnny said, the ebooks. So listen to this, man. Right off the bat, a couple months ago, unique picture that we had on one of our covers. All of a sudden, before the book was out, and now I'm really afraid of, like, I always like to promote covers before, promote the concept before. All of a sudden, somebody zoomed in on a cover of one of our books, unique picture, changed the title was similar, made an ebook with like 200 quotes in it or something like that. It was so obvious, like, give me 200 motivational quotes. They made a book. It was quote per page, our cover on the front of the book, but zoomed in on. They didn't even do the work to get an original picture. Then this so-and-so goes on to my author stuff, and it was a big conversation on like LinkedIn where they were tagging, promoting, and they said now available. And they went into our comments multiple places and put their link to their book that was basically a copy of ours and was junk inside. And then I looked this person up and I see everything else they had done was was not in English. And now for some reason, when they decided to mimic our book, it was they put it over on like our pages. So yes, I'm cranky about it. I'm mad about it. And right off the bat, I saw it done. And then to Tom's point about stuff being original, today I had to take my daughter to impact testing this morning for she's going to try field hockey. And on the way there, the radio's on and they're talking about Robin Hood, how cool he was. And I'm like, I should write a modern day Robin Hood and then I'm talking about I think Robin Hood would be an open story. I don't think anybody owns it. And I'm like, yeah, but it should be modern day. Would he be rich or would he be poor? And I'm asking my daughter, right, here's the idea, the seed is somewhere else. And then can you take it? And so Johnny, you think a modern day Robin Hood, which I've done I'm not talking a guy in tights.
Right.
I'm talking he's Batman. Yeah, anybody can have this story. You write it first. I'm talking Batman, or he made it rich and just wants to help people or whatever. Is that stealing?
Well, no. Okay. So I agree with Tom that nothing is created whole cloth from imagination. Everything is inspired by something else. But what differentiates it is our human ability to dissect it and to put a unique, fresh, and different spin. I mean, I wrote a book called Nightrike. And it's a superhero adventure set during World War II. Well, superhero adventures are not new. World War II stories aren't new. Stories about Nazis trying to conquer the world are not new. But what was new was that my Nazis were vampire Nazis and battling superheroes from World War II. That was a unique spin that I was able to put on the trope. Now, Robin Hood is in the public domain. Robin Hood is not a literary figure, Dominic. Robin Hood is considered a historical figure. So you can do whatever you want with Robin Hood. But what you want to do is something new, different, fresh, something that somebody else hasn't done before. And that's how I'm always inspired. I'm not inspired by what other people do. I'm inspired by what other people don't do. And I always try to find that missing element, something that they didn't do, something that they missed, and tell that story or create that project. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I'm Johnny. I'm done. Ta-da.
Good job, Johnny. Hey, I'm looking on Amazon right now. Night, N-I-G-H-T, Reich. I don't know how to spell it. R-E-I-C-H. Johnny Pica. Is it on Amazon, or do you want me to buy it from you?
Well, I am sold out of the physical stock right now.
Come on, man. You told me about Nazi vampires and you're sold out.
But it is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
And Night Reich, R-E-I-C-H.
Okay, Johnny.
As in Third Reich.
Okay, Johnny Pica.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be accomplished before okay, Night Reich, Johnny Pica. All right. Go ahead.
Now, my author name is John Pica. So There you go.
Yeah, this is value, man. I told you. What's funny about this is I told Johnny about Walking Dead one day, and he was like, I hate Walking Dead. And now he's a vampire lover that are zombies.
Well, yeah, so that was the inspiration.
See, I listen. Go on.
That was the inspiration almost, I guess, 15, 20 years ago. I wrote it in 2005 or 2007, right around there is when I first wrote the story. And I wrote it as a response to the zombie mania that everyone was going wild over The Walking Dead. And I was just like, I don't get why people are afraid of zombies. They're slow, they're stupid, they smell of rotting flesh. You can smell them coming a mile away. Where is that a threat? I was like, give me an army of vampire Nazis. Oh. And that was the inspiration.
Okay, I'm in $12.95 right now on paperback. Add to cart. You know what? The other day I tried to buy. I was traveling and I bought The Alchemist, and I bought the 4 Agreements, and I didn't know. Look, I pushed buy now, and it didn't automatically buy. I thought that meant I bought. So then I had to go to Barnes and Noble. So my wife's like, "Did you track it?" I'm like, "No, I thought I pushed buy now. I thought that meant it automatically bought." She's like, "No." She looked, and it was sitting in my cart. So
You know what? I think we've just discovered that Dominick struggles with technology.
struggle with too many steps. Man. Too many
I have
Dominic
not just
definitely
discovered that.
struggles with that.
I've been fully aware of that for quite a long time. Just for the record, Dominick is not friends with technology.
And now it says I got 2 items in my cart. There should only be 1. Okay, let's keep this.
Dominic, I got to run. I want to give you a power tip really quick.
Please, John, we need it. Go.
You talked about people posting links in your comments and scamming you. There's a tool called Moderation Assist, which is free and Meta Business Suite software, and you can automatically hide anybody that puts a comment with a link. It's automatically hidden so no one sees it. And the number one value for that is all the hacker video links where they get access to your system. You protect your consumers, and then you can protect your comments so you don't have people freeloading off your reach. As Moderation Assist, it's free. Check it out.
John, I need that, man. How many people? I have multiple pages. Why are people always putting in like Simon Cowell died, Will Smith died? I mean, it's nonstop. It's so stinking annoying. Now I got to approve post. What a pain in my butt.
I'm going to let you in on a secret, Dom. A lot of those posts aren't from people; they're from bots.
I don't like it.
Predictive algorithms.
There we go. Okay. We're gonna meet some more people. We got Julie, we got Jason, we got my buddy Brian. But before that, okay, get ready. Every once in a while we do one. I'm going to training camp today and I'm wearing this cool. There's a park called Kennywood in Pittsburgh, and this says Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett is the coolest quarterback ever. I'm going to Steeler training camp. But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I had out today, I'm a boxing fan, as you guys know. This is a boxing glove signed by Reuben Hurricane Carter. Reuben Hurricane, that's who Bob Dylan wrote the song about, wrongfully convicted of murder. I met Reuben when he got out of jail. I don't know how I got in. I got like backstage and got to hang out with him for a while. And super nice guy, but he had wrongfully convicted, spent all that time in jail. He was on fire. Man, was he pissed off. This was a dude that you did not want to joke around with because he harbored a lot of resentment over, which he should have. But Reuben Hurricane Carter signed these, and he was very nice to me. But it didn't take long before he got pissed off. And the song's cool, too. All right, Tom, what do you think?
I like it. I think that's a good one. That's a great show and tell, for sure.
Hey, thank you.
All I could think as you were talking about it was you were talking about how angry he still was about being wrongfully incarcerated and obviously rightfully so. All I could think about was like I would have like I don't know, just such a hard time not cracking a joke about something and then being like, oh, too soon, like because that's not the mistake you want to make with somebody like that, right? Like with somebody who is made a career boxing. To make a ill-timed joke, but that's all I can think about. But yeah, I like that. It was a good show and tell. Good.
Thank you. There was no jokes. I was on my best behavior. You looked. This is probably if I ever had if I learned good eye contact or I have decent, it's probably from hanging out with him because you would be like this because there was you just respected everything he had to say, and he was a wonderful speaker and. Just super motivational. Okay, it's been too long. Julie Loken, what do you want to add? What do you want to teach us today? We need you.
Guys, you're getting all my hackles up today. And just thinking about, I was like making a little list of all the apps I do pay for and the ones that I can't live without. And then just talking about the free Zoom and the emails. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the minimal amount you need to invest in your business or your brand. Buy a Zoom account, get an email that is legit. But I'm going to give you a little tip, something if you fancy yourself interested in getting some amazing apps and you don't want to pay a lot of money. This was a tip I got from somebody. It's appsumo.com. I don't know if anyone's used it here. It can really become your whole marketing team. It can become everything for you. It's like a clearinghouse for like new and upcoming apps where you can buy the app for a lifetime. So you're not paying every month. So you forget about it. So there's just content creating things, calendars, convert pages, funnel things to help you with funnels, um, things to build out your spreadsheets. And I'm just looking right now, content marketing, web builders. It's incredible and it's very, very affordable. It's fun to look at. There's even free apps on here, but it's really a place where app builders go to build out their following, build out the people, build out their, so they can say, okay, I have 10,000 people on the app. AppSumo is a clearinghouse. It's amazing. Just check it out, but don't go crazy and buy stuff that you don't want. So that is my tip for the day. Also, I can't live without Zoom, Canva, and meetups. I pay for the meetup, and I swear, if you want to build a community, if you want to build your brand authority and you don't want to do marketing or do a lot on that end, I have over 1,000 active followers for my meetup groups. It is the best money I've ever paid. So, and don't be cheap, guys. Come on. Like you have to put out some investment in something to make money. And that's it. And don't be cheap. Come on, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Again, that's all I'm going to say. Thanks, everyone.
You got to pay to play, right? Like that's the.
You do have to pay to play. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to pay to play. I think Julie, thank you for talking about AppSumo. I think they're a great. It's a great website. It's a great business. They provide a ton of resources and great discounts on productivity apps for your business. Everybody watch your feet. I'm going to name drop real quick. I met Noah Kagan, the guy who founded AppSumo years ago, when I was working with Tim Ferriss on a project.
Dang, those are 2 name drops right there, Tom.
Right. So I said, I warned you, I said, watch your feet. I'm dropping names. So I met Noah through Tim when I was working on a project with him. And Noah's a great guy, really, really smart entrepreneur and really interesting guy. But the impetus behind his founding of AppSumo is great. The mission behind it. And then if you go there, he provides a ton of content. There's a huge library of videos that he's made helping walk people through how to do things, how to improve their businesses, how to create better productivity, better workflow, better operations. That's really his kind of zone of genius, so to speak, is in operations and productivity. So anyway, fully sign off on and endorse taking a peek at AppSumo. I think it's a great business. So yeah, and sorry about the name drops, but I had to mention it because I had that personal connection.
You need to do that more, Tom. You really do.
He's good when one day when he's like, I was hanging out with Anthony Bourdain, just like always such random name drops. And
I have hung out with Anthony Bourdain.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I thought you pulled that out of thin air, but I was like,
no, I was talking about Kitchen Confidential one day, and you were like, oh yeah, when we worked on this project together. I'm like, oh, come on now. But he doesn't talk about it much, so you never know what Tom's got up his sleeve over here. Hey, Julie, back it up here. Meetup. So what you say? I got 1,000 people on Meetup. It's the best money I ever spent, and no explanation of it. So can I get like 30-second explanation? Come on.
So you've heard of like the term meetups, right? It's kind of old school meetups. And you can do it online or in person. You create a group, and then you create an event, and people just come. I'm not even kidding. So we're here on Clubhouse and we see all the regular faces, all these amazing not regular, but all these amazing faces, but we see the same faces. So at one point I'm like, I need to think of something different. So I just made a meetup group. It was called Secrets of Podcasting. And I checked it like a month later. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like 300 people in this group. I have to do something. And again, you have to pay to play. So I do upgrade to the Meetup Pro, but they bring you people without really doing anything. All you do is create an event. So say you wanted to do not the smartest guys in the room group. And I suggest you make the title something keyword heavy, like secrets to podcasting, so people know where they're going. And people just show up, and you can convert them into clients, you can convert them into your biggest fans ever, but you are giving value. Yes, and you can charge for these meetups, but typically I do it free meetups. Like tonight I'm doing a secrets and podcasting room. And I can tell you right now, I'll tell you the exact number. I'm going to look, but I know I have, without doing anything, any marketing or anything, I have 55 attendees coming tonight. Now, will they all show up? No, I'm going to say 20% of them will show up, but that's 20 people or 15 people that I've never met before. And I have the ability to share with them my expertise. And it just has amazing effects. So tomorrow morning, Jason, 72, and I are doing a networking group, and we have 28 people signed up, which is amazing. It's just 28 people we never would have met because the algorithms are so strong in Meetup that people click on it, and on Google. It's just been an amazing adjunct to what I'm doing. So maybe that answered your question.
Good
and I know
job.
Brian Swift is coming to all of them, and Johnny and Prof T and Dr. Tachi and Tom and you. So that's more love.
It makes me want to explore. So thank you for the clarification. Jason, go on.
Hold on. I just wanted to throw one thing in real quick before we move on to Jason. Just something that Julie said there made me think about the going back to the monetization question that Prof T posed earlier. And I just had a conversation about this last week with Chris, who's actually in the audience right now. And I know I've said this here before, but I'll say it again because I think it bears repeating. I think there's an easy way to draw a line between what you should give away for free and what you should charge for. And here's how I draw that line, right? I will 100% all day, every day, give away generalized information, right? General knowledge and information I will give away for free all day, every day. Where I draw the line, where we cross the line into where you have to pay, is for me to apply my knowledge to solve your problem, right? If you want me to apply my knowledge to your problem and come up with a solution for you or propose a solution for you, that you got to pay for. But if you want to ask me general knowledge questions, right? If you want to pick my brain about something, if you want to get my feedback on a solution that you have created, I'll give that away all day, every day, right? Because I don't believe in charging for generalized information. This is information that somebody could go and Google and find on their own, right? This is not information that is unique to me. What is unique to me and what I should be compensated for is the way I apply the knowledge that I have. That's unique to me, right? So like, that's the line I always draw when it comes to where to kind of start monetizing or start charging people, right? Or move somebody from, somebody who's asking me a question or treating me, relying on me for information to a client, is when they ask me to solve their problem with knowledge that I have, to apply my knowledge to their problem. That's the dividing line in my mind. So I agree with Julie, like these sort of meetups and networking events and things like that. Like I'll give it away all day, every day. And I give it away on here every week, right? Like that's the thing. Like I don't believe in charging for this kind of stuff because it's just general information. It's my opinions on things, etc. Like I'm not going to charge people to hear my opinion. Like, come on, it's not that valuable. I don't think, right?
Good stuff, Tom. Appreciate it. On that note, I'm going to try this meetup, see what it's all about. I attend these things called Happy Neighborhood Project. I don't know if you Google it, Happy Neighborhood Project, wherever you're in the United States. If you do work let's say any city, so let's say it's Pennsylvania or Texas, or you can go to a meetup group via Zoom in these areas and talk to. Sometimes you'll meet the same people that can do business in multiple places, but you break out and have like a 4-person room or a 6-person room, or you break out and do, like, it's not necessarily one-on-one, it's about 4-on-1. So then you can each give your little pitch for a little bit. And I don't always do it. Sometimes if like, let's say 1:00 today, I don't have a meeting and I'm done with all my other stuff, and I see, oh, Happy Neighborhood Virginia's meeting, I might go to Happy Neighborhood Virginia, meet up there for an hour. It's free unless you're paying, whatever. But you might meet people that need marketing services or video services, or want to write a book, or need tax preparation done, or real estate in another city, and it's free. So that's one more that I use. Let's go. Come on. I'm wasting too much time. Jason, what do you got for us, man? My friend Kathy wants to talk to you. Free now to join. Maybe later. Kathy Judson, make sure you follow her down there. Jason, what do you got for us, man?
Well, there's a lot of subjects you guys have traversed over AI.
Yeah, that's right. Go on.
But anytime, like even the AppSumo, that's AI. You know, that when you package things to make it simpler, did you learn and do you understand the thing that you need to know, so that when you make something like augmented information, you know, AI, what it's truly meant for, not to create for you, but the information that you prompt it to. So I could use AI, say like I use Paragraph AI, which formulates my words, either aggressive, passive, stoic, whatever. It uses my words to formulate a paragraph, or say like an email, a statement. And it's what I basically said, but maybe filtered. And that's what we have to understand. It's like, does it get to the information that the other person needs? What's the question that you answer for somebody else? And, you know, if it's a matter of authenticity, of did you actually create this fictional Taylor movement, then that's where plagiarism really needs to come to play. Because if you're publishing a book that's based on gathered information, whether you gathered it or the software gathered it, that's where, you know, how it's interpreted or how it's presented really comes into question. And that's the thing that we have. But the point I really want to hit home with is, you know, if I have to use so much apps to live my daily life, am I really living my daily life? You know, and I heard something, I don't know from who I heard it from, but it's like, when you take, say, like reading a book, writing, when you take those manual things out, what use are you? How are you loading? Oh, Jim Quick, that's right. I learned it from Limitless. If you're not reading yourself, you're not feeding your own computer to process. You're not. You learn from real touchable experiences, reading a book, writing an experience on pen to pad, or even typing it out without filters. That's your human experience. So people have a problem that it's whether it's a human experience or just an experience with augmented information and human experience combined to deliver for a paid outcome. And you're just not worth it to invest. It's like, I can get all this information, look it up myself. You know, so I touch AI cautiously. I do not use it so easily, but I get curious and excited to how it repackages what I want. And now can I look at can I look at to learn from it to do better than what it does from my human experience? And that's pretty much all I want to say. I really don't have too much to add. So I've been enjoying the back and forths. it's important. All right, that's it.
Hey man, well we appreciate you. I like to jump in your rooms. I always appreciate your take on things. I liked your conversation on the
Oh,
Alchemist.
thank you.
I read. I just mentioned I read that book. I thought it was great. Jason goes.
Read it 2 more times and see what you find.
He said I read it 27 times. So
I
then he's
have
like,
read it.
you were
I
asking me
have.
about like people and go on, man.
Well, if you read The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho, every person I've ever met who's read it more than once had more takeaways, sometimes the second, third, and fourth time. That's the trip. You read the reviews, you look at the YouTube comments or the shorts on it, anywhere from Oprah Winfrey to I think Denzel Washington. A lot of stars say, "Hey, I got something out of it every single time," and it's one of those few books in this world that you really do that with. Oh, there is an addition. Before I came in here, I was talking about Reuben Hurricane Carter, and I was quoting him when he went in day one into prison. He says, "You may keep my body, but you're not keeping me in my mind. I'm a free man walking into here." I was just talking about him on my own podcast just a little while ago. So interesting that you touched on Reuben Hurricane Carter.
Hey, thanks. Right on, man. I just started reading a manuscript this morning from a gentleman that went to prison, and he's trying to tell a story of redemption. But he had, and I don't know about the crimes yet. I haven't got into it, but he's just talking. He had life of a silver spoon, and then went to jail, and he was talking about the shock when you first get on that bus, when you first get there, and all that stuff like that. So that's what I started off reading today. So, and he kind of had that same thought process you're talking about there, Jason. So appreciate you, man. Not the smartest guys in the room. We got my man, Brian P. Swift. Brian, give us some motivation. And do you, is there what we were going with today, is there like an app or something that you're using that is like, yeah, I can't get on tomorrow. I can't get through a day without, using this kind of thing. But leave us with some motivation too, if you don't mind, because when Brian's around, I like to get some motivation off of him. And we've had coffee together. I even slept over at Brian's house before. Yeah, I went to Chicago. I'm going to retell this story. We met online. I went to, at one point, I was in pharmaceuticals at the time. I'm like, I'm coming to Chicago. I'm going to come a little earlier. He's like, yeah, come on out. You can stay at my house. Like, he didn't know me. I stayed with his family. My wife's like, you're staying with some rando in Chicago? Are you completely nuts? His family like locked every door a little bit tighter because they're like, who's this creep over here that is sleeping in our house? And we became great friends. So, Brian, what say you, man?
Dom, thanks for all the accolades. I appreciate it. You know me, I'm just a simple, humble, lovable servant. There is nothing I need every day, and that's including my phone. You know what? I hate to get addicted or have to need something. Now, I mean, we need cars and there is stuff we need, but not to a point of where I believe it's something I've got to do every day. Now, that being said, yeah, I'm on my computer every day, but for 35, 40 years of my life, I didn't have to be on the computer every day and was successful, but I know times have changed. I just hate to get so locked into something that I think when you get that locked into something, sometimes you lose sight of other things that you need. So, and I am not the technology guy or person that everybody in this room is. Man, I'm learning every day and finding out more stuff, and that's what makes these rooms great. Is that it's a coalition of people all rowing in the right direction. So that being said, I was reading a word you don't hear a lot. I was reading an article, small article, and I thought, it'd be kind of a cool topic to write about is charisma. You don't hear about that. That you don't hear that word. At least I don't hear it talked about a lot. because I believe some people are very charismatic and some people aren't. And I think it is something that you can work on to become more charismatic. And for some people, they're the behind the scenes people that they're not looking to be charismatic, and maybe they don't need it. But I think for all of us here, and I think in general, having your own type of charisma is kind of important, maybe as important as having confidence. But I say confidence because I believe confidence does bring about a certain charisma in everybody. I'm complete.
Brian, man, spectacular share. Maybe we need to bring Brian on to give us a little motivation at the end of the room each week. I appreciate it, man, and love that conversation of charisma. And what is that X factor that some people have? What makes, with like Tom talked about videos being the same and AI generating the same kind of stuff. What's the X that makes those that content different? Why can Tom wear that flat billed hat and pull it off, and I wear a flat billed hat and look like an idiot? What is it, man? What makes it?
Well,
go on, sir.
I think you have an opinion that you look like an idiot with it, but I don't know if that's true. It's like Johnny. I'll use him as an example. If you look at his picture now, he looks all done up. And I know that's part of his persona. I also believe he does truly enjoy dressing that way, but I think more Johnny's charisma comes with his voice than it does his picture. He could dress in a polo shirt and whatever, and maybe be very uncomfortable. No hat, no glasses, and just look like you or I, Dom. And I think his charisma comes from his passion and his voice, not so much what he wears. Maybe, you know what I mean? So I think everybody's charisma is different. For Tom, when Tom talks, you would think it was a subject he studied his whole life. Comes off very confident, and very, like detailed with the way he speaks. And I think everybody else, has their charisma. You can hear it in Julie's voice. So I think it's different for everybody, and maybe, for Tom, it's the hat. That's something that he likes and enjoys wearing. And it's just part of his everyday thing. And it might have nothing to do with his charisma. My guess is it probably doesn't, because I'm guessing he is who he is without the hat.
It's magical. Like Dr. Tachi's hat. Look, Dr. Tachi's got the cool hat. Johnny's got the cool hat. Yeah, we got some charismatic bunch here. Johnny, do you want to add to those compliments about how fashionable you are? And then we'll go to Tom, and he can wrap up, put a tidy bow on all these crazy subjects we talked about. Go on, man.
So when you see me in public, even if I'm casual, I am that person that you see in my profile picture. If I'm going out in public, unless I want to be invisible, I am the persona that I project publicly online all the time. So, and I do that because if I hand someone my business card, I don't want them to see the picture and then look at me and have a disconnect. I want to reduce the cognitive load, so to speak. So I am always, quote unquote, on, unless I want to be completely invisible. And that happens from time to time too.
Understood, man. I wear my hat the opposite way, and I have when I pull down the bill the other way. And typically, if I have that on, it's going the other way because I'm okay. I smiled enough. I can't smile anymore. No, my wife will be like, "Quit talking to everybody." And if I have a hat on and pull it down real low, that's my chance to do that. Okay, I have a short attention span. We've talked too long. I've had enough. I love you all. You are super sweet. I appreciate each of you. You fill my soul. I missed you for 2 weeks. It wasn't the same. I hate to say it. Well, I don't hate to say it. I probably get more out of this room than you guys do. So, ha. But Tom, if you don't mind, finish like only you can. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Dom. And, the feeling is mutual. We missed you too. Dr. Tachi was a fantastic co-host in your absence. It was only with her help that we kept the room alive for those 2 weeks while you were gone, because I definitely couldn't do it by myself. But yeah, you were missed. For a number of reasons. But because of your ability to run this room and keep things moving the way only you can. And I think because of the way you and I interact with each other, which is definitely unique to us. So I'm glad to have you back. Glad to have you, co-hosting with me and sharing the stage with you as always. In terms of a wrap up today, I'm gonna stick kind of close to what we were talking about right at the end. We were talking about confidence, and where people's confidence comes from, and how do people project confidence. And I think a lot of it has to do with being comfortable in your own skin and being comfortable with projecting authenticity, right? In owning who you are. You talk about my hat. I actually had this experience a few weeks back. I was at a networking event. Somebody literally came up to me, and now I have like some quirks about how I do networking. I don't do the name tag thing. So like a lot of networking events, they'll give you a name tag. I don't wear name tags. That's for a very specific reason that goes all the way back to like one of the first networking events I went to after I started Talex Media. But I don't wear name tags. I dress how I dress. I tend, to wear like a collared shirt and stuff, but I was wearing, a collared short sleeve shirt, some shorts and sneakers, right? And of course my hat that I always have on at this networking event where there were a bunch of people in suits and stuff like that. Somebody literally walked up to me and said, "You look cool. What do you do?" And I think the reason that they felt that they could come up to me and say that, because that's sort of a crazy way to like greet somebody or meet somebody. But B, the reason why they kind of felt that coming off of me is because I am comfortable and confident enough in who I am, in owning my authenticity, that when I go to a networking event, I am who I am. And people, I know that I am not everyone's cup of tea, that not everyone is going to love me, that people are going to look at me and be like, who is the idiot in shorts with the flat bill hat that looks like he just got finished, like he just jumped off a skateboard or something coming in here, right? Like, who is this idiot at this business networking event? I get it on surfing, right, Dom? Exactly. So I get that kind of, I know people look at me that way. And the way that I'm able to still be confident and carry my authenticity is because I genuinely don't care, because I accept that not everyone is going to like me. And I know it is a fool's errand to try to make everybody happy all the time. And I think that's where people really trip themselves up when it comes to confidence and being confident in your authenticity and owning who you are, is you try to make everybody happy. And it is a fool's errand. It is an impossible task. It is a mountain you will never climb. It is a mountain that no one has ever climbed and no one ever will climb, right? So accept that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? Accept that some people will judge you, right? Because of how you present yourself. But know that so long as you present yourself authentically, that you own who you are, that you own what you represent, and that you stand behind your opinions and beliefs, that the people who agree with you, who share your values, will seek you out and will become a part of your community, right? And ultimately, those kinds of relationships are much more valuable than trying to impress somebody who is judging you for wearing a flat bill hat, right? Or wearing shorts to a networking event. So that's what I think about that. Like, own your authenticity and know that by standing in your authentic self and being who you truly are, you will naturally attract people who share your values, who agree with you, who want to be a part of your community, and you will build community around you, your business, your brand, and you'll find long-term sustainable success as a result of it. So you be you. That's the best advice I can give. And that's all I got for today. So, here we are closing out. We've been on for, creeping up on 2 hours, man. It's been a long room. It's been a great conversation. We've talked about all kinds of stuff. We couldn't do it without you guys. I second Dom's thought from earlier. I think I get probably more out of this every week than any of you guys do. But we love you guys for being here. We love you for being part of this community. And we love you for your support. We do this for you and because of you. We couldn't do it without any of you. So thank you so much for being here, whether you were on Clubhouse or just watching online. Either way, we appreciate it. And we will see you guys again next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. For Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. Until then, for Dom, I'm Tom, and we love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.